It's Narrative Tarot. I am here with a y'all need to see all that. I'm here with I'm here with a video, and it's going to be on Pluto in Pisces. Da, da, da. So what I really wanted to say when I was doing the other one, but it kind of morphed into its own topic with Pluto and Aquarius and stuff like that. So this one is Pluto in Pisces. This one is going to talk about some development and stuff like that. So from the last video, I said I'm very interested in Pluto in Pisces, mainly because I'm interested in Hades' development. And like I think Haiti's just one of those nations like you want to win, but there's just a lot going on, and you're like, okay, this is like a lot, and it's a lot of strings being pulled and a lot of things that we don't know about with regards to it. But then there's also like things from the people as you watch the people talk about their people in the country of things that they would want to change and the attitudes and stuff like that. Because I actually watch people who like are Haitian and the ones that like speak English, so they're more Americanized essentially, talk about their culture and stuff like that. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. So the point of the video is Pluto in Pisces, which to me will be either, and I had an exorcism or exodus. And what I mean by that is, I think Pluto in Pisces will kind of bring up these two, I don't want to say dualities, but these two things. Either we're going to evolve and have this like exorcism and release of like huge energy, or we're going to have a mass exodus where people leave. So I wouldn't be surprised if population becomes like very like the populate like demographics that are interesting. Like it could be the number of people that like buy like mineral water, and I mentioned water in the last video, like suddenly increases or decreases. The amount of people eating certain things increases or decreases. It may not be like just like the demographics shifting in terms of like people are immigrating to another country and immigrating from their country. It could be like very different shifts because we're dealing with like mutable energy, and it could be that point where the nation's recalibrating in a way that may not do it with like Capricorn and Pluto and stuff like that. A Capricornian Pluto. So maybe dealing with like their demographics, particularly demographics probably around the water. I think water is going to be really interesting at this time. I think it's going to be interesting for a lot of people as we have seen our water resources kind of slowly like dwindle. There may just be new ways of, I don't want to say manufacturing water, but manufacturing water, like for some reason, I don't know if humans will in 40 years develop to where we need less water. Maybe we need more water. I don't know. There may be some very significant research on water and the brain development and the organ development and the organ sustainability, water processes, like things that take water to be created, like clothing, maybe like plastics, or well, plastics would be like more petroleum based, right? But like things that require water to be made, like in some area, somewhere along the line, they need water to be made, and that's like a lot of stuff, right? Like trying to find stuff, water resistant things, water philic things, water phobic things. All of that could be like a thing. When it comes to the Exodus and the Exodus and the exorcism, I think be prepared for like maybe mental health. It's almost like Pluto in Pisces, because you need okay, so Pluto is like ruled by Scorpio, but I was looking up what its exaltation would be, and there's some debate about whether it's Sagittarius or Aries. I personally think maybe Aries would be, but if not, then whatever. But this exodus or exorcism, I think people are going to be pushed finally to the brink of change. And I think change in a very deep, profound, spiritual way. Like, not even just like ancestral healing, but like parallel universe healing. Like, if we've gone to other planets by that time, like, the healing that's done reverberates to like all of those places. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like that energy like just transforms out. So you have like all of that going on, and then like just mass potential for healing. And I think mass potential for healing in very specific geographic sites. Like, I feel like by the time Pluto gets into Pisces, the land itself will be speaking to people. The land itself, like, don't be surprised if you feel called to go to specific places, not just like religious landmarks or like this is where my ancestors were. Like, there may be places that are calling you that literally the water components in your body, this is so weird, the water components in your body like literally mesh and resonate with those like landmarks. Even if it's like a desert, like whatever composition of water is, this is like weird because I've been mulling over this and this has never come up, but whatever water composition, like whatever minerals, whatever ratio of minerals show up, or whatever shows up in your water, the water that makes you, like wherever that resonates with you, you may just feel like really seen and heard and like experiencing things on a very heightened like level because it resonates so much with you. So potential for like really large healing, really large spaces of healing, particularly tied to the natural like world, and particularly tied to like water sources or places where like water would play a significant role in like the development and growth of people, or even just life in general. For some reason, what just popped in my mind, the poles, the two poles, like North and South Pole. There may be something interesting that happens there with that. There may be some like vortex, spiritual vortex or otherwise, that like opens up or something like that. And so like this exorcism, this energy of pushing you to the brink, I wouldn't be surprised if mental health cases went up. I wouldn't be surprised if like more people enrolled in like therapy, if more people enrolled in like just therapies in general. I wouldn't be surprised of that. I wouldn't be surprised on the more devolved end that crime goes up, that escapism goes up. Excuse me. And whether that's escapism that you have chosen or escapism because Pluto in Aquarius and Pluto in Capricorn have preceded this, escapism mechanisms that have been implanted in you to keep you going in a sense. You may feel like the idea or the feeling of just existing may become very pervasive amongst people, to the point where like, well, there will be a veil. It's almost like there's a glitch. Like, you'll be existing here and then you'll glitch, and there's that space of glitching. Like, either you feel the presence of like God or divinity, and then you come back, and you may just start glitching. And depending on where you are, like that gap may become longer and longer, and you may be staying in this gap space longer and longer. But it's dangerous because if you're here and you're human, you need to like stay in your body and shit like that. So it becomes like kind of, like I said, like really hard escapist. Like if you're alcohol and stuff like that, you could just get into loops. Things could be like deja vu could be playing over. You could be seeing people, like literal people that look the same, situations that keep showing up, things like this. Or on the more evolving end for the exorcism part, you wake up very refreshed, you wake up very clear, you don't emotionally, like your vibration becomes really high. And so we're dealing with both of both sides of this exorcism part where like things are really purged and released, and so the people are like fresh and recreated and renewed, or they're entering those gap spaces through like alterations of substances and stuff like that. So maybe regulations, either regulations are going to be increased or decreased, I don't really know, but if they're increased, there's I feel like during this time period there's going to be very sought after like drugs, in general, whether they be like purely from plants or like synthetic, that people are altering, alcoholism and stuff like that. People could become puritanical. Is that a word? Yeah, I think that's a word. Like very pure, meaning, and somebody said this, abstaining from drugs, abstaining from sex, abstaining, like almost like this monk kind of energy, this kind of monk hermit card energy, that allows that hanged man energy to come through. They're doing the same thing. The hanged man and the hermit are doing the same thing. They're just doing it different ways. The hanged man sits there and gets all of the imprints and impressions through being very still. The hermit actively seeks out their own enlightenment. That's how I see it, anyway. So, yeah. So you have this period where all of this stuff is happening. I wouldn't be surprised if art becomes very exalted in nations like Haiti. The artist, the poet, the people. I wouldn't be surprised if new lyrical forms come out, new artistic expressions come out, because the people are free. Like the people are going through this process and they're free. And I have a like, is he a friend? Friend, are you free or are you freed? And that's another concept. Are you free? Are you freed? Did you free yourself or did someone free you? And there's pros and cons with like all of this. I'm not like, well, it's better you freed yourself. Like, it's like sometimes you thought you freed yourself and you really didn't, and that's just you trying to rebel and trying to not really deal with reality, and so you freed yourself of the responsibility, and the responsibility, you just wasted time because you didn't want to deal with stuff. You know what I'm saying? You try to bypass shit, essentially, or did somebody free you and now you're bound to them? You know, there's pluses and minuses and all this shit. Anyway, so on the Exodus end, so the exorcism is like bringing stuff out, but the Exodus end, okay, exorcism is bringing all the energy out and stuff like that. The Exodus, the death rate could be very interesting. The death rate may be very interesting. The way people die may be very interesting, and like rituals regarding like transition states and things like that. It doesn't have to be just death, but transition states may become like really central to life. Very beautiful. The memory and the mind of these things becomes very deep within the people on a level that transcends just like your earthly ancestral line that you can connect with. I think like the consciousness of transitional states becomes really important. And then, like I said, the Exodus part, people are checking out, which can be part of exorcism, of getting to the brink and like releasing everything. It could be ditching religion, but I kind of feel like not a kumbaya state, but whatever some people have been seeking, they may settle down into it. What else? Exodus, people, okay, if things go awry and the cycles beforehand, the Pluto cycles beforehand, I wouldn't be surprised if certain nations see significant, and I think I said this before earlier, significant decreases in population. And that would be the result of things not being dealt with. So, significant amounts of people are leaving, and with Pisces, there is a bit of melancholia that may come from that. So, like, don't be surprised if the people from these nations like are very reserved, melancholy, depressed, because that is something that's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if the data statistics from these nations, I mean, across the globe, we're kind of depressed. Some nations are happier than others, and that depends on a lot of things, not just like the people like themselves, but just like the structures that they live in. But I wouldn't be surprised if you started to look at statistics and you started to see like depression and stuff. I don't know. Maybe like public health officials and like people that do this stuff should be looking up astrology charts. I don't know. I had a friend who was like, you let man-made charts and like your life is being led astray. Bruh. I don't care. But that's what I have for Pluto in Pisces. Thank you for letting me ramble, and I'll talk to you later.